such a rich and varied history at our harbor and waterfront, and it's being told in bits and pieces, but it's time to pull it together and tell a good story in a single sort of frame of reference, and in my case, I've chosen to go at it in book form. Back in the late 1990s, the Marine Heritage Committee for the town undertook to establish a Marine Heritage walking trail. I was part of that initiative and in fact wrote the signs for it. And what I wanted to do was to provide a walking tour guide to help folks get through that trail on the bluff and on the boardwalk and over on the north side of the harbor in a systematic fashion, but to fill in the pieces between the signs. Well, when I got down to work and tried to pull everything together, simply producing a walking tour guide wasn't going to do it. So it had to be something more than that. This book has to be presented in a way that's going to be fun and easy to read. That's why it's so highly visual and tells short stories. Well, I've had a lifetime of my own history at the waterfront. My family is part of the waterfront. It goes back to 1919 when they first came here, so I'm third generation wharf rat, if you will. My first little job was working with Ab Leonard and Flo on the fish boat, Larry John. So I've accumulated quite a collection myself of historical images. I was able to maintain contact or get contact with two news sources of postcard images, many of them in color. And one of the Facebook pages to do with the town of Goderich started showing new images of the waterfront I'd never seen before. So I started to pull all of that stuff together, along with a collection of maps that dated back to 1827, and then I had to sit down and figure out what to do with it. And I ended up doing basically two main components: an overview of the general history, which talks about the beginnings and the evolution of the harbor, right from 1827, when it was a sheltered rivermouth basin, right through to the plans for filling in part of the harbor today that are being talked about in 2015. And that was followed by the step-by-step walking tour. And what I've ended up with are two versions: the pocketbook, which is the carry with you guide, which has exactly the same material as the one that you would use in your armchair or at home with your tablet or with your laptop, because you can see many of the signs and locations online. And the book will be available in its final form in both versions, exactly with the same content, and as much as is possible in full color, with color, sepia tone, and just a very few grayscale images.